I came home for Christmas. The house was empty except for Grandma eating leftovers. A note said, "Spent your $8,500 loan on a family cruise. Take care of her." Grandma said, "We'll fix this." I just nodded. 4 days later, they were begging for I didn't knock. It was my parents' house, the one I'd practically paid for. And I was supposed to be home for Christmas, like I promised, like I always did. But when I pushed open the front door, the warmth and cheer I expected didn't exist. The tree was lit. Sure, the cheap plastic star blinked like it was trying to apologize, but the silence was heavy. No voices, no wrapping paper, no cinnamon or burnt cookies, just the faint clinking of a fork against the plate. "Hello?" I called out, cautiously stepping in. "In here, sweetheart," came a voice from the kitchen, soft, tired. I turned the corner, and there she was, Grandma, sitting alone at the table in her knitted purple sweater, a plate of cold stuffing, and half-eaten ham in front of her. I blinked. "Where is everyone?" She didn't answer at first, just gave me a sad, toothless smile and slid a folded note across the table. Her hands trembled. I picked it up. It wasn't even an envelope. Just a torn sheet of notebook paper, my name scrawled in black pen. "Spent your $8,500 loan on a family cruise. Sorry. Take care of Grandma while we're gone. Love, Mom." I stared. I didn't speak. My brain stopped processing words around loan and cruise. That money was for my dental surgery. I'd saved for over a year. Grandma watched me like a soldier watches a minefield. Carefully, silently, I guess. "I guess they didn't think you'd mind," she said softly, folding a napkin. "They left yesterday." I sat down, hard. The seat felt colder than the room. "No warning. No phone call. Just took the money and left you here," I whispered. She gave a dry laugh. "Oh, honey. You know they only call when they want something." I nodded slowly. My hands clenched under the table. This wasn't new. It was just louder. Grandma took a small sip of orange juice, looked me dead in the eyes, and said, "We'll fix this." I said nothing. But inside, something broke. And something else, something much colder started to grow. Grandma went to bed early that night, said she was tired, said her hips couldn't take much more waiting. She kissed me on the cheek, patted my arm, and whispered, "You always were the only one who stayed kind." And then she shuffled away with that little limp she got after falling down the stairs 2 winters ago, the one no one else ever took her to rehab for. I sat alone in that house for hours. No TV. No lights. Just that note. That note. The loan. My money. The money I worked night shifts for. Weekends. Holidays. Driving Uber. Freelancing. Skipping meals. Skipping sleep. $8,500. Gone. On a cruise. I opened the family group chat. Silence. Not even a Merry Christmas. I scrolled up. The last message from my mom was from November. "Don't forget to transfer the loan to Dad's account. We need to book before the prices jump." Loan. They never called it a gift because they knew it wasn't. I remembered my mom's voice when she pitched the idea. "It's just a short-term loan. We'd pay you back by February, latest. You can always reschedule your dental thing." I'd nodded because that's what I always did. When they wanted money for Jacob's school fees, I nodded. When they wanted help with Dad's gambling debt, I nodded. When Kelly needed rent after she lost her job aka quit because her boss was mean, I nodded. I always nodded. Because if I didn't, I was selfish, unhelpful, ungrateful, because family comes first. Because after everything we've done for you, done for me, they kicked me out when I was 17 because I refused to lie for Jacob after he stole Grandma's painkillers. They didn't show up to my college graduation, too busy helping Emily move into her boyfriend's place. They forgot my birthday 3 years in a row. But when it came to money, oh, suddenly I was family again. By the next morning, I had answers. They weren't just on a cruise. They were on the majestic Aurora, a luxury ship sailing the Caribbean for 10 days. Suite deck, private butler, infinity pool access, gourmet food, $3,000 per person. 4 of them. I know because Emily posted a photo on Instagram when she must have forgotten to block me from seeing. All 4 of them in bathrobes, clinking champagne glasses. The caption? "Finally, some peace away from all the leeches and negativity." Leeches. I laughed out loud. They used my money, abandoned Grandma with leftovers, and called me a leech. That was the moment the last wire inside me snapped, and I wasn't sad anymore. I wasn't even angry. I was focused. That evening, Grandma found me in the garage. I was hunched over Dad's old filing cabinet, surrounded by stacks of paper, bills, old records. She didn't say anything, just watched as I flipped through decades of lies. "I need to know everything," I told her. "Where the money went, what they did, who's in on it." She sat down beside me, pulled out a faded notebook, and started flipping pages. "Let's start with 02/2016, she said. "That's when your mother took my pension login. By midnight, we had numbers. By the next day, we had a plan. They rolled into the driveway like royalty. The same people who left me and Grandma behind with a note and a fridge full of spoiled coleslaw now came home like heroes returning from war. Their laughter spilled into the house before the door even opened. Emily came in first, dragging a designer suitcase, hair braided with ribbons, nails freshly done. Ugh, I am so glad to be back. That last dinner on the ship gave me hives. Behind her, my mother swept in with the elegance of a villain in a soap opera, sunglasses still on indoors. "Did you even clean up a little?" she asked, stepping over Grandma's shawl like it was garbage. Dad followed, red-faced and bloated from cruise buffets. He grunted when he saw me. "Oh, you're still here?" Jacob entered last. He didn't even acknowledge Grandma, just dumped his bags by the couch and collapsed into it. I didn't speak. I was sitting at the table, hands folded, calm. "Where's the food?" Mom asked, scanning the kitchen like she owned it. "In the fridge," I said. "Still plenty of the ham you left." Jacob laughed. "Still on that," he muttered. "Dude, just order takeout. It's not like you're broke." I stood up slowly. "Glad you're all here. Sit down. I've got something to show you." Jacob rolled his eyes but slumped into a chair. Dad cracked his knuckles. Emily was too busy looking for an outlet to charge her phone. I turned the laptop screen toward them and clicked play. The first video, a spreadsheet. Not just any spreadsheet, a financial audit I had spent 4 days building with Grandma. Every dollar transferred out of her pension account. Every ATM withdrawal made from her card at gas stations Dad always used. Every Zelle payment Emily requested to cover emergencies that turned out to be Sephora and Apple charges. "Where'd you get this?" Mom asked, her voice suddenly tight. "From her bank," I said. "You should be more careful when using someone else's password." The second video, screenshots of Venmo transactions, account logins from Mom's devices, pension access points matching Dad's bidding habits, then emails. Mom writing to Emily, "He won't notice the cruise deposit missing. He trusts us too much." Emily replying, "He's a softie. Plus, who leaves Grandma alone on Christmas anyway?" My jaw clenched, but I kept going. "I could stop here," I said, "but I won't." One more file. A voice recording. "Kelly, Jacob's wife standing on our porch 2 nights ago, sobbing. I didn't want to go. I begged him. But Jacob said if you didn't give the money, they'd just leave her and deal with it later. I only stayed quiet because he said it'd all blow over." "I'm sorry. I couldn't take it anymore." Jacob sprang up. "You recorded my wife? That's illegal." "No," I said. "She asked me to. She said she was tired of lying for you. Tired of watching you bleed people dry." Dad stood now, face red with rage. "You little snake, you've been digging into our accounts like it. Like someone who's done being robbed," I snapped. I opened one last tab, a pre-written email. Subject line, "Formal report of elder financial abuse, evidence attached to Social Security Fraud Division, Grandma's attorney, the county ombudsman, and 2 local news outlets. You have 48 hours, I said, my voice level, to return every penny, or I send this, all of it." Emily's hands trembled. "You're bluffing. You'd ruin your own family." "No," I said. "You ruined yourselves. I'm just sending the bill." Grandma stood slowly. She hadn't said a word this whole time. But now she walked to the head of the table, put her hand on the back of a chair, and said, "I raised 3 of you, fed you, changed you, protected you. And when I couldn't walk, you left me with frozen beans and moldy pie while you sipped champagne on stolen money. You're lucky it's him coming after you, because if it were me alone..." She trailed off, but the room was silent. The message was loud. Dad muttered something under his breath and stormed out. Emily cried and tried to hug Grandma, who turned away. Jacob just glared at me. "You're not family anymore." I smiled. "No, I'm finally free." They didn't believe I'd do it. They thought I was bluffing. Even after I dropped that email in front of them, even after Grandma stared them down with eyes full of quiet, ancient rage, they still thought they could outweight me, manipulate me, wear me down. But that version of me, the quiet one, the one who nodded and paid and said thank you for crumbs, he died when they spent $8,500 of my savings on pina coladas and a cruise buffet. The first 24 hours were silent. Not a single message. No apologies. Only Grandma and I in that empty too-quiet house, eating microwave oatmeal and taking turns checking the bank account. Nothing came. On the second day, I sent the email. Every file, every screenshot, every recording attached and dated file to the state authorities and CC'd every news desk in a 100-mile radius. At 6:13 p.m., I received a response. "Thank you for your submission. A case has been opened." On the third day, it exploded. Jacob was the first to panic. I woke up to 12 missed calls and a barrage of text ranging from, "We didn't mean it like that," to, "You're seriously going to destroy your own family over some money." Then came Mom's classic, "You're being emotional. Please take the post down. We'll talk." But I didn't reply. Instead, I forwarded every message to my attorney, a woman named Natalie, who read through it all with the cold precision of a surgeon. She had been working with Grandma's legal advisor since the day I pressed record on Kelly's confession. By noon that day, Natalie sent out official letters of intent to sue, to my parents, to Jacob, and Emily. She wasn't bluffing either. The charges? Elder financial abuse, unauthorized access to retirement accounts, misappropriation of family loans, the amount owed with interest and damages, $14,322.85. The next night, Mom showed up at the door. She looked like someone who hadn't slept. No makeup, her hair pinned back sloppily. "Can we talk?" she asked, voice shaking. I crossed my arms. "Only if you brought a checkbook." She reached into her bag and pulled out a white envelope. Inside was a cashier's check for $8,500, my loan. "No interest?" I asked. "You're lucky to get this," she snapped. "We're being destroyed by this mess. You created it. You're turning your back on your own mother," she hissed. "No," I said, stepping outside and slamming the door behind me. "I'm finally turning my back on a thief." Later that week, Emily called me from her work phone. She was crying, said the article had started to circulate. The title? Family steals disabled grandmother's pension, abandons her at Christmas, grandson fights back. It got 42,000 shares overnight. Emily's employer, a boutique marketing firm, didn't appreciate the press. Her name was in every screenshot. Her message about leeches and negativity had become a meme. "I'm getting fired," she screamed. "Do you have any idea what you've done? Return the favor," I said. "Now pay your share." She did. In 4 installments, I made her send proof of payment each time. No shortcuts. Jacob was the last to fall. At first, he acted untouchable. "My boss doesn't care," he bragged on social media. "It's all fake anyway." But then Kelly left him. She filed for separation, told him she wasn't going to let her kids grow up in a house where lying and stealing were the norm. She called me the same day. "I'm sorry it took me this long," she whispered, "but I've seen who he really is now." I asked if she needed help finding a place. She paused, then said, "Only if it comes with no strings attached." I smiled. "Then yes, because you did the right thing." 2 days later, Jacob showed up at my door. Unshaven, tired, furious. "You fool," he hissed. "You ruined everything." "No," I said, handing him a legal letter. "You did." Natalie had just filed a motion for garnishment of his wages. He tried to tear it in half and throw it back at me. I didn't flinch. "Pay every penny," I said, "or we freeze your accounts." I'm not bluffing. Ask him a lie. By the end of the second week, all the money was returned. $8,500 from Mom and Dad, $3,100 from Emily, including interest, $2,700 from Jacob, after a loan from his own boss, humiliatingly. Total, $14,300 and change. I used $3,000 to finally get my dental surgery. Another $2,000 to buy Grandma a proper lift chair and a home nurse. The rest went into a locked interest-bearing account in Grandma's name, which only she and I could access. When I showed her the paperwork, she cried. "They took everything from me," she whispered, "but they didn't take you." And just like that, I had won. Not just the money, not just the legal war. I had won myself back. The weight I carried for years, the guilt, the obligation, the quiet shame of being less loved, it all fell off like a bad coat. And I stood up straighter than I had in years. They stopped calling. And you know what? It felt like silence for the first time had a pulse. Not the panicked silence of guilt, not the heavy silence of shame, but a clean surgical silence. The kind that comes after you finally cut out something infected. The money was back. The house was quiet. Grandma was finally sleeping through the night again, not waking up every hour afraid someone was breaking in to steal the rest of her dignity. And me? I was becoming someone they couldn't control. In the weeks after the blowout, I didn't just collect money. I collected my life. I quit the job that drained me, took a remote contract that paid better, and gave me back my hours. I took Grandma out to her favorite place, a dusty old diner with checkerboard floors and the worst coffee in the state. She laughed more in 1 hour than I'd seen in 5 years. "I miss this," she said, dipping her fries into her milkshake. "You mean your arteries miss this?" I teased. She shrugged. "I'd rather die laughing with you than choking on cruise shrimp with those snakes." Fair, but even peace has its ghosts. They didn't call, but they talked. Oh, they talked. Emily posted on Facebook that some people don't understand what forgiveness means, pairing it with a photo of her lighting a candle at church. Mom told distant relatives I had manipulated Grandma in her old age. She left out the part where she used Grandma's pension to pay off her plastic surgery debt. Jacob. He went full delusional. Posted a reel about toxic siblings with audio from Succession acting like he was the betrayed heir to some broken empire. The caption? "Some people would rather see you fall than rise with you." I laughed for 10 minutes straight. Rise with you? You tried to burn me alive and dance in the ashes. They wanted to rewrite the story, but I had the receipts, and I wasn't going back into the shadows. The turning point came 3 weeks later. I was at the grocery store with Grandma pushing her cart, filling it with soup cans and ginger ale when a woman approached us. Older, elegant, clearly familiar. "I'm sorry," she said, looking straight at me. "Are you the one from the article?" I tensed. She smiled. "The one who saved his grandmother?" I blinked. I guess, yeah." She looked at Grandma then back at me. "I just wanted to say thank you for standing up, for not staying quiet. My mother, they did the same to her, but no one fought for her. I wish someone had." She touched my arm soft, brief, then walked away. I turned to Grandma. She was frozen, hand on the soup can, tears welling in her eyes. "I didn't think anyone saw us," she whispered. "They do now," I said. And that's when I realized this wasn't just about money or revenge or proving I wasn't a loser. This was about telling the truth out loud. Finally, the best part? I was done explaining myself. I didn't need to scream anymore. The truth had already made its way into the world, dragging their names behind it like a bag of trash spilling open across the pavement. Every time they posted, people remembered. Every time they lied, someone in the comments reminded them who they really were. Mom tried to rebuild her image. She started a cooking channel on YouTube, Cozy Kitchen with Carla. But in the first episode, someone commented, "Did you pay for that oven with stolen retirement funds?" She deleted the channel in 2 days. Jacob tried getting a new job. Didn't get past the background check. Apparently, the garnishment orders scared off the company. Oops. Emily vanished for a while then resurfaced under a new Instagram handle at @m_life_reset. She posted yoga pics, inspirational quotes, claimed she was cutting out toxic people, which was hilarious because I didn't cut her out. I exiled her. Months passed. I moved into a new apartment. Quiet, clean, filled with second-hand furniture I chose myself. Nothing they picked. Nothing they touched. I brought Grandma with me. One bedroom for her. One for me. She decorated hers with old photos and a blanket she crocheted in 1993. She called it the fort. One evening, she knocked on my door. "I have a question," she said, sitting down slowly on the bed. "When you saw that note, the one they left, why didn't you just leave? Why'd you stay?" I thought for a moment. Then I said, "Because I remembered who I was before they made me forget." She looked at me long, then nodded. "I'm proud of you, sweetheart." And that broke me more than any insult they ever screamed, because she meant it and because no one else in that family ever did. Weeks later, I ran into Kelly outside a coffee shop. She looked healthier, lighter, happier. She told me she was taking night classes, working toward certification, trying to build something of her own. "I didn't know I could live like this," she said, without being afraid of what he'd do next. "You gave me that." I didn't know what to say. She stepped closer. "You changed more than just your life, you know?" I nodded quietly. And maybe for the first time, I believed it. So here it is, my ending. You want to know what happened to the family? They destroyed their own name trying to bury mine. You want to know what happened to me? I stopped waiting for them to call me family and started building one with the people who never made me beg for love. And now I sleep peacefully with all the lights off because I'm no longer afraid of what they'll take next. They already took everything, and I took it back.